Hi there, we are back for the next episode of Shadowbringers, City of the First. We are here in the Crystarium at X7.7 Y11.2 and have to talk to the Crystal Exarch. Okay. White oak chest, coffer gear. Required level 70, item level 385. Chest gear type determined by current job or class at time of opening, cannot be opened in instanced areas such as dungeons, PvP areas, or raids. So, okay, what is it? 385, and my gear is 390. So I want to try this to open this in the end as Paladin, I guess. So I want to try to have a tank as well. So, okay. The Crystal Exarch has a request for you. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a view of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Yes. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your Aetheryte trail and find the connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. I will. After you have done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive in the crystalline mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catelys, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. To reach him and his cabinet of curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit on the left and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Braggy, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Oh yes, they were. Crystal clear, yes. To the right one. Very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There is an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then. So, okay. First place, the Aetheryte. No. This. And attuning. So. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of ether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable and should allow teleportation to Aetherites in the source. So let me see the next one. And we don't have to remember, there are all 3 points set. So, first thing we have to go to the left. Nice place. And here, our first person, Braggy. New to the city, friend. The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome. My name is Braggy and I'm the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it, too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a wide range of equipment, so we should have something in your size. Forgive my asking, but you are a dwarf, yes? We don't get many of your lot coming down from the mountain these days. Dwarf? I'm sorry, did you say dwarf? I'm actually a Lalafell. Must be a dialect I'm not familiar with. Amaja. Braggy, let's see if we can straighten this out. See, those two in front of us. The shorter one is a human, and the taller one is an elf. I know this. That sturdy individual over there is a Guardiant. Okay. Whilst the one with the horns is a Dran. And then you have the large, scaly chaps with long tails and a neck for raising livestock. These would be the Tsun. Or Tsan? I don't know. Which is apparently not what you call them. Do the dwarves have different names for all the peoples of the world? Or did you pick up the common tongue in some other far-flung region? Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We have had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they floundered over the simplest things. but not to worry. Should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Your exchange with Bragi has taught you about the peoples of the first. Okay. So let's see. Let's go to this Aetheryte first. Aethernet Shard. Musica what? See. Musica Universalis Markets. Universalis Markets. So. There's another one. So. I know I have to go somewhere else, but I want to connect to the Aethernet Shards first. The pendant. So next one should be the Dossel Gate. Let's see. Still be out. Here, water. Let me see. There's an exit upstairs. Wrong decision, wrong direction. So, this is the market. Oh. Okay. Can I jump? There. Ah, yes. Okay. So, let's see. There should be an Aethernet Shard somewhere. There. The Dossel Gate. So now the next one we have to this guy. The Terminus Rookeries. The Sky Watcher with the new areas Almost blah blah. So, yeah, and here you can see all the new areas: the Crystarium, Oilmore, Lakeland, Colusia. I hope I named them right. Arang, Ilmek, the Raktika Greatwood. This is upstairs. I'm not sure. Maybe. This shard should be here somewhere. Look. Okay. There it is. The Timonous Rookery. So this is the handboard. Nice. You have to go upstairs. There are these little 6 near the icon, and it shows me I have to go upstairs. This is new with Shadowbringers now. Something here, yes. Catalyst. And this is the crafters area, yes. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized. Two things. Safer and more civilized. 2. Thanks to us in the mean, we work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which makes the life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it will all be handed to you on a plate like those Olmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium we work for a living. So I see you are no stranger to honest labor. You don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you are from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the town, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. If you hear some hammering and other noises, there are some craftsmen in my house today, and I hope this will be silent in the future. So I apologize for that. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've aught to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catalyst, and I'll find you a niche here in the crystalline mine. You can help us keep the crocks of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catalyst has taught you about life in the Crystarium. Okay, so let's see. Now we need to attune this Aethernet Shard. Where is it? Sterling. Not here. There it is. This is the Amaro launch. Let's see. the crystalline mean Aethernet shard, and now I'm not sure. This door is closed. We have to go there. Can I jump there? No. This way. Yes. No. It's a wall. No, I cannot go there. What's that? This way. Let's see. Maybe script exchange for crafting scripts. I got informed that we are not looking for new suppliers for the time being. However, should there be a change of circumstances, we may have reason to call on your services. Yeah. Is there not a way? No way to... No. Did I miss something here? Maybe a lift or something like that. The recording mode. What is this thing? Bus. Nothing at the moment. You see. Look at this. Here, you need to go downstairs. So. To learn the orientation in this big city here. There. Already have this crystalline Aethernet shard, and the next one should be this one over there. And this should be the last one. Cabinet of Curiosity. You have attuned yourself to all the Aethernet shards in the Crystarium. Lakeland is now accessible as an Aethernet destination. Okay. So. This is it, Lakeland. But we will remain here for now. Is this a door? Library. It's closed. Maureen. Excuse me, miss. Are you recently come to the city perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles you see, and well, what I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even? A scrap of scribbled on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Maureen, at your service. Librarian Maureen. And this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular, mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you have an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair, make yourself more comfortable with the lesson then? A 100 years ago, or near enough, no, not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us, the Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrand, and Norvrand alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Northrend's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or, if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Your exchange with Maureen has taught you about the Flood of Light. So, find the crystal Exarch near the Excedra and present your findings. It doesn't it. So, that's it. Finger chart. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Send over this. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a core, but it was necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that details were sparse. The structure is in fact the selfsame one you know from the source transported to the first in its entirety. It was my first attempt at bridging the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. So, complete. So now that we have this reward, I want to change my class to Paladin. Each class have a new information about the Gosh and so on. There are so many changes to the battle system, I don't want to explain them during the main scenario. So let me see. Now I have item level 330, 360 around. Nothing. Open this. Use this gear coffer. It's only one part. Okay. Nice. Okay. Then I would say thank you for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.